Hi, my name is Jaclyn Purgert. I am a fifth-year pharmacy major at Ohio Northern University, and I am the current chair for Relay for Life here at ONU. This is my third year chairing, and the whole reason that I got involved with Relay for Life was my younger brother. On October 2nd, 2008, I received a phone call from my parents at about 6:30 in the evening, and all they said was, "Are you in your room and are you sitting down?" And once I was in my room and sitting down, they just flat out said it. They said, "Your younger brother has acute myeloid leukemia." I was devastated. I was ready to drop everything and come home and stay home with him for the year. Part of the reason I was so devastated to hear this was that my uncle had died 4 years earlier from the exact same kind of leukemia that my younger brother was diagnosed with after he got it back for the third time. I also saw my uncle on the night that he died. He was about 45 years old, and all I could remember was the image in my head of him laying in his bed. His fingertips were black. He was really out of it. He couldn't really respond to people, and I was just so afraid that that was going to happen to my younger brother that I really just wanted to be home with him, and I really couldn't think of anything else to do. However, he was really strong through the whole thing, and when the doctors told him what was going on, he basically just said, "What can we do to fight this? What can I do so that I can carry on with my life?" Which was amazing, coming from a 14-year-old boy who had just started his high school career at St. Ignatius in Cleveland. And it still amazes me to this day that he was able to do that. He flat out said that he didn't want us to, drop out of school or come home. He wanted us to stay in school and stay focused on school, come home on weekends when we could, just to visit. Like I said, it still amazes me to this day that he was that strong through the whole thing. As the year progressed, he had mostly inpatient treatment at Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital. He would be in the hospital each round of chemo for about a month or two, depending on how his blood counts were going. And then he would get to go home for a couple weeks, and then he would have to go back into the hospital. And it doesn't sound that bad until you realize that he was in a special isolated floor of the hospital because he was so sick, and the chemotherapy would decrease his blood count so low. His immune system basically didn't function like anybody else's, so he had to be in a special isolated unit, which was really small. So he didn't really have much room to move around or much change of scenery. So when you're in basically the same room for almost 9 months straight, that could drive anybody crazy, but he was really strong through it all and came through. The hardest part for me probably would be the times that I came home and he was really sick. The times that we couldn't even eat in his room with him because just the smell of the food made him nauseous, just from the chemotherapy. The nausea was just so intense that he couldn't even stand the scent of food in his room. So those days were probably the hardest. Another hard day for us would have been when we found out he did not have a bone marrow match, either from his siblings, which is me, my twin brother, or my older sister, were not a match for him, or in the data bank that they had. So basically they said that their only option at that point was to continue with chemotherapy and hope it worked, which the odds weren't great, but he was responding at that point, so they decided to continue with the chemotherapy. He went through 5 rounds of chemo, and he was then discharged on Memorial Day of 2009, So it was literally like the weekend I came home from college. That was probably one of the happiest days of my life. The fact that he was pronounced cancer-free and he was able to come home, that was just one of the best feelings I had ever had. Just to have him home again and return to some kind of normal for us. It was a great feeling. And knock on wood, to this day, he is still in remission. He is a freshman now in college, and he's doing great, knock on wood, and we hope to stay that way. This coming April will be 4 years of remission. So the big number that we're waiting for is 5 years, but we're headed in the right direction. We're headed in a good direction right now, which is really exciting. So for those of you who think that cancer won't happen to you, won't happen to your family, I'd experienced cancer before in my family, but I never thought that my younger brother would get cancer. Never in my entire life. So it really can. He was 14 and diagnosed. We know families that had children that were 2 years old when they were diagnosed. My grandfather had cancer when he was like 75 years old. So it can hit any age group. Anybody can get cancer. It can affect any family. It really doesn't matter, which is why Relay for Life is such a great cause, because the funding for Relay for Life helps to fund cancer research to help get rid of this awful disease that really causes so much pain and so much suffering for so many people. So I really hope that everyone is willing to support this cause in some way, shape, or form, whether it be through some kind of donation, through a Luminaria bag to dedicate to somebody that has cancer, a survivor that you know, or somebody that you lost to cancer, or just through support of our cause here at Ohio Northern or in your own community. My personal goal this year is $100, so I hope to reach that as soon as I can. Last year, the event at Ohio Northern raised $20,000, which was fantastic. $20,000 to any cause is wonderful, and $20,000 to help fight cancer is even that much better. Just to give you some sort of idea, just $1 of donation will buy a petri dish. And who knows, that petri dish could be the one that finds the cure to cancer. So, like I said, anything that you can do would be much appreciated and really great. If you have any questions, you can always contact me or one of my colleagues. American Cancer Society has a wonderful website that they have a lot of information on. relayforlife.org/ONU is our personal ONU page that we'd love to have everybody participate in.